And so that's what I my goal is, by the end of you listening to what I'm saying and then reading D&C 76, you're willing to be consistent by the tense and how you're interpreting tense. So to me, verse 57 is the most crucial verse to prove my point, because it says, and are priests of the Most High after the order of Melchizedek. And then when it moves into verse 58, it says, wherefore, as it is written, they are gods, even the sons of God. Again, are. And I don't know one Latter-day Saint who would think that when Jesus told the Pharisees in John 10, quoting from the Psalms, ye are gods, you are all sons of the Most High, that is talking about the future and the afterlife. And we know it's not, because it says, ye shall die like men, which means that that death hasn't happened yet. So that ye are gods is a present tense identity declaration. And so we have at the beginning talking about receiving the gift of the Holy Spirit, present tense. Then being priests and kings, present tense. They are the church of the firstborn, present tense. They are priests of the Most High after the order of Melchizedek, present tense. Wherefore they are gods, present tense. And it says, wherefore all things are theirs, whether life or death, or things present, or things to come. All are theirs, and they are Christ's, and Christ is God's. So even here, it clarifies the present. Okay? And then it says, and they shall overcome all things. Now that's pretty interesting, isn't it? Because shall, is it talking about the future? It looks like it. But we are dealing with a declaration that yes, they shall overcome all things. It doesn't say when. It doesn't say that it happens at the same time for each person. But it is very clear what is already true for them. So the question becomes is, will the saints seize these things that are theirs, life, death, and then overcoming? And so if we take the book of Revelation as an indicator where the seven churches are told specific things that they need to overcome and then gives promises to the overcomer, that slides nicely into this, because even those messages were present tense, where the promises are talked about in the present tense. I come quickly and my reward is with me, talking about the swiftness of the reward being given rather than a distant date. So it's not talking about when, it's talking about how. A swift reward. And so the swiftness of the reward has to do with the overcoming. But here, and they shall overcome all things, sure, that looks like it's future, but what is really intriguing about that is that it's saying that those who have received the authentic gift of the Holy Spirit, who are the church of the firstborn, who are the Melchizedek priesthood, they shall overcome all things. And so we don't have any details given to us at this point of when that occurs or how. And that doesn't matter. The point is that the overcoming will happen. And so I'm saying that when a future is given and it's not based off of a condition, then that's when it's safe to say that the future is more flexible. But when it's clear that the future is based off of characteristics and conditions that are met, that's when you have to adjust the paradigm. And so we just have to maintain a flexibility and adaptability in order to discern when these things are happening. And that all comes down to context. Just trying to look at the before and after verses to try to really assess what the context is all about. And so here it goes on in verse 61. Wherefore let no man glory in man, but rather let him glory in God, who shall subdue all enemies under his feet. And then these shall dwell in the presence of God and his Christ forever and ever. Yeah, so that phrase forever and ever, it's letting us know it's referring to those words in Greek that mean dispensations belonging to dispensations. And so in the last video, go check that out on the whole section 76, because I get into that right at the beginning. And so it says, these are they whom he shall bring with him when he shall come in the clouds of heaven to reign on earth over his people. These are they who shall have part in the first resurrection. These are they who shall come forth in the resurrection of the just. Now watch this. So it feels like this has been talking about the future, right? But this next verse helps to clarify that it may not be talking about the future exclusively. And in future videos, I'll do my best to explain that this idea of coming in the clouds is not what we've been led to believe. And but now look at verse 66. These are they who are come unto Mount Zion, and unto the city of the living God, the heavenly place, the holiest of all. These are they who have come to an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly of and church of Enoch and of the firstborn. So we're still dealing with present tense, aren't we? These are they. Now, not one of you would argue that coming to Mount Zion is a future thing, because you know from the book of Hebrews that when it says, enter the throne with boldness through the blood of the grace of the covenant, that it's talking about now. And so here it echoes that same sentiment. So coming forth in the resurrection of the just doesn't even necessarily mean a future event. There's nothing in it that indicates an event, especially because the whole time we've been in the present tense mode. When it's talking about coming forth, it can mean manifesting the full participation in that reality. And so if you're resurrected today when you hear the voice of the Son of God, then coming forth in that resurrection is participating in that and choosing to manifest the fullness of that reality as one becomes an overcomer and begins to fulfill the prophecy about they shall overcome all things. But the overcoming doesn't necessarily happen automatically, because the book of Hebrews gets into great detail about going through the refiner's fire and the Father disciplining us as sons. And so the overcoming will happen through correction. And how that all occurs and whatnot, that's for a different video. But here, they are they. So it's just saying that if you're not part of that our identity, then you wouldn't be able to come forth in the resurrection of the just, in that participation, right? But here, they are they who are come unto Mount Zion, are now. They are approaching Mount Zion now. And so I could keep going on and on, but it says, these are they whose bodies are celestial. So, are you going to be consistent? If you're going to say, these are they who are come unto Mount Zion, and maintain that it's talking about right now, are you going to be consistent to say, these are they whose bodies are celestial? Nothing here says will be. There's not a shall there phrase like they shall overcome. So with all of that, I'll leave you to really pray through and hopefully study and get a sense for where these present tenses are and adjust the overall perspective based off of the new paradigm that naturally emerges once you're sort of absorbing what these differences have to mean. And then, it may require giving up a lot of beliefs at that point. But that's okay. That's how real spiritual growth occurs. And so, with that said, I want to leave you today with a good study, and I hope that you have a prosperous and healthy week ahead of you.